Welcome back everybody to this early 2020 edition of When is Sony going to finally announce a new Ape Escape game / remake? On this episode, I have no idea. Sony was so bizarre when it came to marketing Ape Escape as a franchise in 2019. We got an official Twitter account that's super active with a bunch of artwork and pictures of somebody in a big ol' ape suit. And that's it. We also got some genuinely freaky shirt designs. What the hell is this? I'm terrified. Listen, maybe I'm just bitter, but all I'm saying is some of those weak state of play videos that Sony was doing, they would have been saved with an Ape Escape announcement. You know I'm right. Alright, well somebody has to keep this hype train going. Even though theoretically it doesn't even exist. Hashtag apes will escape, that's still the thing on social media, let's keep that going. Last time we took a look at Ape Escape 2. Only makes sense to move on to the sequel. Ape Escape 3, also known as, wait, there's a third Ape Escape, released in 2006 outside of Japan to very minimal fanfare. It's pretty interesting to me how little this game gets talked about. You know, maybe I just figured all this time Ape Escape was a bigger overall franchise than it actually was back in the day. I mean, let's take a look back. Ape Escape 1 was monumental for not only having a really fun and engaging set of gameplay mechanics, but it was also a great showcase for Sony's brand new dual analog controller. Ape Escape 2 upped the ante a little bit with some more story elements and additional gadgets to spice up the tried and true gameplay, as well as also having the benefit of being simply more Ape Escape but on more powerful hardware, showing off jiggle physics that I am still uncomfortable with all these years later. At the end of the day though, it did feel like a bit too much of the same, but taking a look at the whole film crew setup here on the box art for Game 3, maybe we actually have something new here. Ubisoft dipped out of this one though. Clearly, they were not having whatever Sony was serving. Good riddance, I guess? That means we have no more Pokemon voice acting. That was weird anyway.
I sent the professor stuff okay! What are you doing?
Sure enough, the evil monkey Spectre is back. It's only one tiny furball, how does he keep getting out? This time, with the help of this extravagant fella, Dr. Tomoki, Spectre is looking to put every human out of commission by broadcasting television shows that place everybody into a mindless trance. It's not as over the top as time travel, but damn it, it works. If a giant laser couldn't get the job done, why not take up being a film director instead? I can appreciate aiming high. Luckily, a few have managed to avoid that trance. Newcomers Kei, Yumi, their aunt Aki, and the returning Natalie. So now it's up to them to save the day. Ooh, what is this? A choice of characters to play as? That's kinda cool. Sadly, in the grand scheme of things, it's not as interesting as it seems. It's about as fleshed out as choosing boy or girl in a Pokemon game. But with your kid of choice, you go around all the film sets, capture all of the monkeys, and thwart Spectre's plans once again. What we have here is honestly a pretty solid premise, and it allows for a lot more interesting locales to run through. One stage you're running through a forest, and then immediately after you're exploring a giant castle. There's a Wild West inspired village, a large TV studio, a spooky lake with a nice Jason Voorhees reference. It's pretty neat stuff. We do see some specific characters and sets being referenced here or there, but for the most part we're seeing references to cinematic themes, not so much individual movies. It would be nice if we had something like Saving Private Ryan in Ape Escape form, but hey, maybe that's what Ape Escape 4 could be about. There is a lot more personality shining through here, with movie scenes often playing right in front of you, and it's pretty entertaining. Ape Escape 2 did have a few unique monkeys here or there, but Ape Escape 3 is filled with them, and the adventure is a whole lot more enjoyable because of it. I also love whenever you find monkeys on a film set. Yeah, some of them are in costumes, as to be expected, but alongside them are usually camera monkeys or director monkeys. That's perfect. And in the post-game, when you're going for all the monkeys you missed out on, you get to go to every location's secret behind-the-scenes area, where some of the actors are just sitting back and relaxing. I'm assuming they're actually stunt doubles, and hey, that's brilliant. It also helps that the monkeys got their redesign to their more pleasant current appearance. It's pretty minor, but it's much better. Gameplay-wise, yeah, it's kinda like exactly the same thing. I guess at this point there really aren't that many ways to jazz up the formula. Different verse, same as the first. You get a certain number of monkeys to go for, you hit them with a stick, you capture them with your net, and you do that until the game says to stop. It's still a lot of fun, at least, which is nice, but I guess I did just expect something a little bit more. I'm sorry, what? Excuse me? Did that monkey just knock away my net?
Oops, you got your gadget snatched by a monkey, didn't you?
What? Yeah, on the surface, this does seem like it's exactly the same as before, but you do have to stay on your toes a lot more often. Third time doing this, some of these monkeys are ready to fight back. Well, except for the ones who are massive fans of Yumi. This is the only real difference between the two playable characters. Yumi is actually a popular idol, and some monkeys get paralyzed upon being in her presence. They get starstruck. It's a pretty weird way of implementing a bizarre pseudo-easy mode, but yeah, sure, okay. Anything that gets the monkeys into my net a whole lot faster is okay in my book. We got some vehicles popping up once again, and boy, they kinda suck. Dude, this car moves so fast. How am I actually expected to not drive like an absolute maniac here? This is the worst. And I'm supposed to run this monkey off the road? Yeah, okay, good joke. I legit did this circle a good dozen times before I was able to get the monkey. This isn't a hyperbole. This thing sucks. In the previous games, as a means to spice up the gameplay, these vehicle segments, they were fine, especially since they were an additional showcase of that dual analog setup. But Ape Escape 3 actually introduces a handful of new gimmicks that make the vehicle segments feel pretty forced in my opinion. For example, the gadgets are handled way better this time. The number of them that you have access to has been reduced from how many there were in game 2, which is for the best. They were pretty enjoyable in that game for sure, but ones like the water gun, they felt pretty unnecessary. Now, we're back to the same set as the first game, minus the magic punch. But of course, we have something a bit grander. We have the brand new and awesome gimmick, morphs. Now, by pressing the R1 and R2 buttons at the same time while this meter is full, you can transform and gain a bunch of new abilities. Become a knight, wielding a mighty shield and capable of dealing more powerful blows. Become a ninja, nimble enough to walk over tight ropes and run across walls. Become a damn superhero, firing lasers and flying through the air like you're straight out of an anime. Or don a monkey fursuit and... boy, sign me up. This mechanic is so much fun, and it was always enjoyable seeing just how long I can stay in the form at any given time. When you activate it, you only have 30 seconds to use it, but you can constantly get these items that give you more time, and I was able to maintain some of these forms for upwards of 5 minutes, and it felt really satisfying to do so. That being said though, I feel like this idea could have been expanded upon a little bit more. They sort of feel like copy abilities in a Kirby game. Very rarely are you required to use them, but hey, if you do want to use one, just go for it. It's all in good fun after all. And ooh, the theme for the Fantasy Night is a jam. It's worth transforming into that for the theme song alone. The transformations become the most useful during the boss fights against the returning Freaky Monkey 5. And boy, what a downgrade they are from the last time. Partially because the morphs are slightly overpowered, partially because they simply don't put up that much of a fight. These battles were a whole lot easier than last time, and they usually just consist of pushing through and spamming them with attacks until they go down. Super simple. Oh, and yeah, you remember how disturbing Yellow Monkey was in Ape Escape 2? Well, no worries. He's worse now. He shoots shurikens out of his nipples, and he giggles the whole time. This is why we're not getting an Ape Escape Trilogy remake. Nope, don't like that one bit. Outside of the main adventure, there have been some quality of life upgrades regarding the extras and unlockables. Ape Escape 2 had that weird toy machine that would give you goodies randomly, which was pretty annoying. But now we have an entire shopping district, so you can choose what you want to spend your money on, which is nice. There's just not really much to mess with though. Concept art, short stories, monkey, astrological signs. Okay, according to this, my luck is as good as home. What does that mean? You can also check out some of the monkey's theatrical masterpieces. I can sense an up-and-coming popular YouTuber here. I can just feel it. And then we have the Minigames, and while I would say that Ape Escape 3 is overall a pretty underrated game, the Minigames in particular, this is something people are more familiar with. 2 of the 3 minigames here are whatever. One-on-one karate combat and hammer toss, but with another monkey. Humorous for maybe 20 seconds, and that's about it. But then we have Metal Gear Solid. This is incredible. For whatever insane reason, we have a massive crossover between Metal Gear Solid and Ape Escape, presenting us with an entire miniature campaign where you essentially play Metal Gear Solid, but with monkeys. And I suck at it. Conversely, there was also an Ape Escape minigame in Metal Gear Solid 3 on PlayStation 2.
You're mine.
I'm honestly not big on Metal Gear as a franchise, but you can't deny this is pretty fantastic. And while there were a couple of additional character references in the main game, some of them unlocked by cheat code, I'm pretty surprised this Ape Escape referencing other Sony game idea was never taken further. Uncharted, but everyone's a monkey? Think about it. But alright, let's wrap this thing up. After taking out the Freaky Monkey 5, as well as Dr. Tomoki, who really doesn't put up much of a fight, he's a pretty unnecessary addition to the plot. Honestly, he just sort of shows up, makes a few weird lines, and then you beat him up, and that's kind of it. He does this thing where he like sacrifices himself at the very end of the plot, and then he's alive. So, yeah, what was the point of him? I don't understand. Eventually, though, you make your way to Spectre's massive headquarters. You fight him in his giant mech, which, hey, you know, the first 2 times didn't work out, surely this 3rd time will, and it doesn't. And then you go back to all the previous levels, get the monkeys that you missed out on, fight Spectre once again, and another pretty easy fight, and then boom, credits. I know I made a joke about this whole ending sequence because honestly, it's pretty underwhelming. It's just far too similar to the previous 2, it matches a lot of the same story beats that by the time I got to Spectre, I just didn't care. The adventure of getting all the monkeys was still a ton of fun though. When you really look at the whole picture here, Ape Escape 3 is more of the same, but the few additional tweaks make it stand out a whole lot more than Game 2, which is nice, but when you look at the entire trilogy, it's hard to deny that these games are just fantastic. Yeah, there are elements of each one that feel a little bit undercooked, like some of the extra gameplay elements that were forced in, or some of the story elements that don't really matter at the end of the day, but just based on purely being a super fun experience, this entire trilogy comes highly recommended. And after that, that's it. Sony hasn't necessarily forgotten about Ape Escape, but they've definitely treated it with less respect than it deserves, the way I see it. Unless they thought putting Spike in PlayStation All-Stars was enough. The franchise would also give us a few spin-offs. Got a couple of them right here, and there are plenty that never left Japan, so maybe this could be an interesting topic for another day. Maybe I'll talk about it when we're close to that new game or remake finally releasing. It's never gonna happen, is it? I'm really just screaming into a void at this point. The fact that Medieval got a remake before Ape Escape they talked about anything with, that still blows my mind. At this point, we're probably gonna get a remake of Glover before we get anything Ape Escape. And you know what? I would actually be okay with that, but I'm still mad.